You've probably seen it before, a glass so dark it seems to swallow the light around it. We call it dark beer. But have you ever wondered why it's dark at all? It isn't coffee, it isn't chocolate, and yet, somehow, it feels like both. Inside that darkness lies a story of barley and fire, of centuries of craft, and the quiet art of turning something ordinary into something unforgettable. Today we step inside this liquid shadow, not as casual drinkers, but as explorers of transformation. We're going to rebuild the history of the people's beer and use the 10-second rule to decode why, in the world of brewing, darkness isn't a sign of danger, but a record of patience.
Hey, I'm Edward, and this is QC Project Simple Things. Let's pour ourselves a story.
At its simplest, dark beer, whether you call it a stout or a porter, begins with the same humble grain as every other beer, barley. But what makes it a shadow in a glass is one thing: the fire. Imagine the barley being soaked, sprouted, and then roasted slowly. As the heat rises, the sugars inside the grain begin to caramelize, the color deepens, and the scent turns smoky and sweet. It's the same magic that turns white bread into a golden crust, or raw beans into dark, bold coffee. While pale beers shimmer like sunlight through glass, stouts and porters glow like embers, warm, velvety, and full of soul. In America and across the globe, you'll see many faces of this darkness: the creamy Irish stout, smooth and dry; the porter, rich and slightly sweet; and the Schwarzbier, a dark German lager that drinks much lighter than it looks. Each one carries the same truth. Darkness isn't just a decoration. It is a memory of heat, a record of patience, and the quiet evidence of time itself. It didn't begin in a sterile factory. It began in the fog. Imagine you are standing in London in the early 1700s, a city smelling of coal smoke, river water, and sweat. You would see dock workers, known simply as porters, hauling heavy crates through narrow cobblestone streets, tired, hungry, and bone-chilly. At the end of a long, brutal shift, they didn't just need a drink, they needed something strong, something that could truly warm their bones. The brewers listened. From the barrels and soot of those crowded taverns, a new drink was born: the porter. Dark, hearty, and rich with roasted grain, it was nothing like the pale ales of the upper class. This was the people's beer, full of grit, warmth, and working-class pride. By the mid-18th century, porter had taken over London. Every pub poured it, every man who worked the docks swore by it. But back then, brewing was still more art than science. The colour came from fire, from barley roasted by hand, making every batch uneven and unpredictable. Some were too light, others too bitter. Then came 1817 and Daniel Wheeler. He wasn't a brewer, but an engineer who loved precision. He invented the drum roaster, a rotating iron cylinder that could roast malt evenly without burning it. The result was black patent malt, a true revolution in a barrel. For the first time, brewers could create a dark beer with absolute control, smooth, consistent, and deeply flavourful. Across the Irish Sea, one man was paying close attention. Arthur Guinness, already famous for his ales, began experimenting with this new black malt. He blended it with pale malt to strike a perfect balance, a beer dark as night but soft as cream. With that, the modern stout was born. The name itself meant bold and powerful, but it evolved into something more. By the 19th century, Guinness Stout had become a global icon. From the fog of Dublin to the bustling streets of New York, from dockside taverns to the most elegant bars, the world had found comfort in the same darkness that once soothed London's porters. Today, when you lift a glass, you are tasting that 300-year echo, the smoke of London, the ingenuity of Dublin, and the quiet human art of turning grain and fire into something worth remembering. So, what exactly makes dark beer so dark? It all begins with the grain. Inside every tiny barley kernel, there's a world of sugars, proteins, and minerals waiting for a spark. When that grain meets the fire, something both magical and chemical begins to happen. The heat triggers the Maillard reaction, the same legendary process that browns your Sunday toast, sears a perfect steak, or roasts your morning coffee beans. Imagine it. Inside the roaster, sugars and amino acids start to collide. They twist, fuse, and transform into hundreds of new compounds, each one adding a new layer of depth, color, and aroma. The longer and hotter the roast, the deeper the story becomes. At around 100 degrees Celsius, the malt begins to turn golden, soft and sweet like freshly baked cookies. Push it further to 150 degrees Celsius and the color deepens into a rich amber. But once you hit 200 degrees Celsius, the magic truly intensifies. The grain turns chocolate brown, smoky, rich, and bold. Beyond that threshold, it becomes nearly black, where the flavor turns bitter, earthy, and beautifully burnt. In a modern brewery, this isn't just luck, it's precision. Imagine huge steel drums spinning like slow thunder while sensors monitor every single degree to ensure the color lands exactly where the brewer wants it, from the nutty brown of a porter to the inky black of a stout. It is a marriage of fire and science where chemistry becomes craft. Think of it this way. Light beer is like toast, crisp, golden, and easy on the tongue. But dark beer is like espresso, rich, roasted, and alive with intensity. Both come from the same humble grain, but one has been kissed by fire. Many people think they know dark beer just by looking at it. They see that deep, inky color and immediately assume it's stronger, heavier, and far more intoxicating than its pale cousins.
But here's the truth. That's just a myth, a story told by your eyes, not your tongue.
In reality, color tells you almost nothing about alcohol content or calories. While it looks like a heavy meal in a glass, a classic Guinness actually has fewer calories than many light lagers you'd find at a supermarket, and the alcohol, it's often surprisingly lower too. The darkness doesn't mean danger, it means depth. While light beers dance quickly across the tongue, dark beers linger, they stay, they whisper. Those bittersweet notes of coffee and cocoa create an illusion of strength, but what you're really tasting is patience. The time it took to roast and mash each batch to perfection. So the next time someone tells you dark beer is too heavy, just smile and say, it's not heavier, it's just deeper. Here's a quiet surprise that might change how you look at your glass. In moderation, dark beer might actually be good for you. Those roasted grains you see are packed with antioxidants, the same powerful compounds that give dark chocolate and red wine their superfood reputation. They work like a tiny internal shield, helping to neutralize free radicals that wear your body down over time. And there's more. Inside the barley and hops lies silicon, a mineral essential for strengthening your bones and maintaining healthy connective tissue. The studies even suggest that moderate drinkers have a slightly lower risk of heart disease and stroke thanks to natural compounds called flavonoids. It's not magic, it's chemistry. It's the same lesson nature has always taught us. The darker something is, the richer it tends to be, not just in colour, but in character. Of course, moderation is everything. The same fire that creates flavour can also burn if you stay too close. So perhaps the true wisdom of dark beer is this: enjoy slowly. Drink less, but feel more. Because too much of any good thing always turns bitter. Today, dark beer has travelled far from the foggy docks of London. It's no longer just the fuel for workers. It has become a global symbol of craft, patience, and refined taste. In an Irish pub, you'll see Guinness flow like time itself, slow, steady, with that iconic cascade of creamy foam. Each pour is a small, sacred ritual, a moment of quiet pride, shared by strangers who, over a dark pint, somehow begin to feel like friends. Across the ocean, in small American craft breweries, a new generation has taken that old tradition and reimagined it for you. From chocolate stouts to coffee porters and oatmeal dark ales, each glass is a conversation between the brewer and the fire. These modern brewers play with flavour the way painters play with colour, blending roasted malts, cocoa, caramel, and even dreams. Whether you find it poured from a wooden tap in Dublin or sip it from a bottle under the warm glow of cafe lights, every pint still carries a memory. It's a memory of smoke, of soil, and of the human hands that made it possible. In a way, dark beer isn't just brewed for you, it's told to you, one glass at a time. It's a reflection of a world that learned how to turn labour into art and simplicity into a story. So why is dark beer so dark? It's because time, heat, and human craft have conspired to turn something as simple as barley into something extraordinary. That darkness, you see, isn't about mystery or overwhelming strength. It's about transformation. It is a living record of every second the grain spent in the fire, deepening and becoming something entirely new. It's a small, fizzy reminder that beauty isn't always bright. Sometimes it hides in warmth, in patience, and in the quiet work of human hands. Even the darkest things can be full of light if you look close enough. In the end, dark beer is more than just a drink. It's a story of what happens when we give simple things a little more time and a touch of fire. So the next time you lift a glass, remember, even the deepest comforts have roots.
Sometimes, beauty hides in the details we overlook.
Want to give you the 10-second rule. This isn't about counting time, it's about a 10-second pause that turns you from a casual drinker into a connoisseur who can't be fooled. Next time you hold a glass of dark beer, spend those 10 seconds on 3 simple checks. First, look at the texture. If it's a true stout or porter, the foam should be thick and creamy like espresso. If it's thin and bubbly like soda, put it back. It's likely just coloured water. Second, check the climb. Real roasted malt leaves Belgian lace, foamy streaks that cling to the glass as you drink. If the glass is clean, the soul of the beer is missing. Finally, feel the pulse of the glass. If it's ice cold, wait. Let the warmth of your hand wake up the chocolate and coffee notes. In just 10 seconds, you're not just drinking, you're applying 300 years of history to make sure what you taste is real. Use these 10 seconds to demand quality from your life, one glass at a time. Stay curious about the simple things. The next time you see that dark, velvety liquid, remember, it isn't just a beer. It's 300 years of fire, patience, and transformation waiting to tell you its story. If this journey gave you a new perspective, please subscribe and hit the bell to join our next investigation. Tell me in the comments, is a creamy stout your ultimate comfort, or do you prefer the bold, roasted kick of a porter? Share your ideas, and we might explore them in the next episode.
Keep looking closer. This is QC Project Simple Things. Thank you for watching.